of the internet, Gabriel here, and today I bring you my book discussion on The Death Cure by James Dashner, the third and final in the Maze Runner trilogy. I am aware this series has a prequel, but I consider it a trilogy because the prequel isn't set in the same time as these ones. I think this book ruined the trilogy. I thought The Maze Runner was great, The Scorch Trials was even better, and then it all went down the drain with the final one, okay? I finished reading this yesterday and I am still trying to flush out these feelings from my system, and I will get into details in the spoiler section. If you want to know what I thought of the book, I think the book was generally an okay book. Some of the times I didn't really know where the author wanted this story to go. We kind of felt lost as the readers. I have not been very lucky with trilogies. We all know what that ended, and then there's this one, which is to this date my favorite and third of the trilogy. It's the one that left me most satisfied, yet I have not finished a trilogy that has left me 100% okay. Before I leave to the spoiler section of the review, I want to say something. If you've read these two books, or just this one, or this, and then later on this one, whatever, if you've read either one of these, and you're still going to wait a long time for this one, reread these guys, okay? Because some of the things revealed in The Death Cure completely spoil the rereading pleasure of these ones. The Maze Runner to me was kind of difficult to get into, and rereading it is probably tough, but I would still recommend it, even just rereading it from like halfway and then rereading the Scorch Trials, because the events in the third one spoiled the rereading pleasure. On that note, I am leaving to the spoiler section. If you don't want to be spoiled and you haven't read the trilogy, please leave. There will be all kinds of spoilers, so let's get into it. Before I start the spoiler section, I want to say that I took the notes as I was reading the book, so some things that I say will not be consistent with things that happen along the book, so just bear with me. So we start out the book at a very good pace. I like that Ratman is in here again. We have this really feisty relationship between Thomas and Jansen. The starting of the book I enjoyed. The first genuine thing that shocked me was Brenda working for Wicked. I was not expecting that at all, and I was kind of taken a step back there from Wicked, Jorge and Brenda. The second thing that shocked me was Teresa leaving the group. And that shocked me because I am a very big shipper of these two. In The Maze Runner, we have this very good relationship between them that I really like. And in the Scorch Trials, that completely falls apart. I thought that in The Death Cure, they would rekindle and it would be awesome. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. And so I was expecting them to be way more together in this book, and they weren't. They leave for Denver. Up until now, the story is good. I am liking it. I can't wait to find out what happens. Thomas doesn't get his memory back. Now, Thomas doesn't get his memory back through the whole book. I actually thought something was gonna click and he was gonna remember everything, but no. And that really annoyed me, because as the reader, you want to know. You have these dreams and these flashbacks, but those are not enough. You want to know what happens. We're okay until we get to the cafe. Just to refresh your memory, in the cafe they're sitting and there is a guy getting high on the bliss. Thomas asks Brenda what's going on, and Brenda explains to him that the guy is basically getting high. And so Thomas mentions that it's creepy and he wants him to leave as soon as possible. A guard comes in and he goes right up to the high guy. And Brenda immediately says, okay, time to get out of here. And Thomas just stays there. And I went, what are you doing? You gotta get out, man. He stays, and then he has the audacity to blurt out to the guard, I'm immune. I'm immune. And he just goes and helps the guard get the high guy. What did you just do? You just got in serious trouble. Turns out I was right. Thomas just blurts out he's immune. The guy is taking him out. The cop car comes up, and a lot of stuff happens, and I really got confused by that part, which I really didn't like. Thomas, again, is not the best main character, but some things he does are just absurd. And then we get to the Newt scene. Not nude, Newt, the guy, the friend. And so Newt, earlier on, we find out that he isn't immune, that he has the flare. The people in Denver find out and they ship him to the Crank Palace. They immediately rush out to get him, which I completely understand. And they get there, and this scene is so intense. I know what happens later on, but this scene, I was reading it and I was just, I can't really explain, but this scene really got to me. Having a friend in such a degrading situation is so, just reading it made me feel so uncomfortable, and then they get in a fight, and just, okay, moving on. One of the things that also annoys me throughout this novel is that once every paragraph, Thomas is like, a memory is trying to escape my brain, or that triggered something with itching inside my head. And that completely annoyed me. Because, we don't know. The reader gets frustrated that we don't know what happens. And I've mentioned this a while ago, but I want to get across that I didn't like this part of The Death Cure. And not only The Death Cure, throughout the series, what he doesn't know, and the reader doesn't know, is very annoying, because you think you're going to get to know it, but you get to the end of this one and nothing happens. So what about his memories? Yeah. So the Newt scene goes by. I kind of forgot what happens, even though I finished this 2 days ago. I just know Thomas is taken and dumped to oh, right, I remembered. They meet with the right arm, and their plan is to infiltrate Thomas and a bunch of other people in there, and I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. So we're on our way to drop Thomas off at HQ, and we stumble upon Crankified Newt. Now, this scene was really, really tough to read. One of the toughest scenes I have ever read, and reading this scene, I constantly closed the book and thought, and just reflected on how this would apply with me. Now, just imagine, one of your best friends has a sickness that will drive him into an animal state, and he begs of you to shoot him. What the heck do you do? I could never ever do that. Now, in the situation that happened in this scene, it's just, again, so intense, and oh my god, just the feelings. Newt's death, to me, was really sad and intense, the way his life ended. Another thing I want to say is that while Chuck's death in The Maze Runner felt really forced and didn't give the reader a connection, Newt's death in The Death Cure certainly did. I mean, you feel the things that Thomas just went through, shooting his best friend in the head. Just think about that for a moment, okay? For a teenager to shoot his best friend is just... I can't wrap my head around it. It's just something that happens in books, and if I ever saw in real life, it would really traumatize me. Thomas gets there, and we're 100 pages to the end, and I'm like, how is this gonna wrap up in 100 pages? The author has to do something whoa and complete that whoa something before the end of the novel. Crap is coming. So he gets in, he plants the device, we're down to the 80 pages. Okay, real crap is coming. Little stuff happens, and then 60 pages. Okay, this has gone beyond crap. This is gonna be huge. And I was right. So we get to the part where he finds out that he has to die in order for the research to be completed. And I'm like, Thomas can't die. And then I remembered Allegiant, you know? If Thomas died, I wouldn't really mind, because Thomas is not my favorite character. When said character died in Allegiant, I really got sad. And so he gets to the HQ, and Jansen gets there with a security guard of sorts. A thing that really kind of, me was that Thomas has a knife, and he throws the knife to the guy's neck. The book describes that there isn't blood at first, and then the blood starts coming and something like that. Basically, he throws a knife, blood starts oozing out, and then a line later it's like, Thomas stood there in shock. So you threw a knife at the guy's neck, and you're in shock because blood is coming out? Yeah. The thing just gets in, and they get the other guy's Minho, which I have a problem with the pronunciation, and they go to the maze. Before they get to the maze, Teresa and Thomas have a little dialogue. Finally, the ship is back! Finally, I have wanted these two together since ever. Finally, they're gonna end up together. And I know what you're thinking, just leave that thought a little bit later. They enter the maze and they go get the immunes, but the maze starts falling. Now, something I want to point out is that while the maze was falling, and me picturing it in my head, it just so cool. Like, I hated that some people died, innocent people died, but the maze falling was just, me imagining it was really catching fire, arena destroying, that feeling that it's coming apart. Finally, this ends. And then they get to the Griever Hole, and the Griever Hole, that part is particularly not my favorite. Now, I'm not a big fan of blood and gore and fights. These last few pages have a lot of gore, and I don't like reading that kind of stuff because it's just too violent, and I don't like it when A, innocents are dying left and right, literally, that people are just dying, and B, the author is killing them off in a very graphic way, and just that really makes me cringe because I don't like watching that, picturing that, reading that, and that just turned me off in the last few pages, along with the Griever scene that I had to pull the lever out. That just kind of me, okay? And so, during the Griever scene, Teresa gets sucked in by a Griever, and I'm like, no, Teresa doesn't die, okay? While I was reading, I got this feeling that indeed she was going to die. And when that scene ended, yeah, I know. And so, they get everyone out. They go through these corridors and they get to the flat trends, and I'm like, finally, no more twists. And then Ratman appears and get this over with. The Ratman attacks with 7 other guys or 8, and they're not outnumbered, but they fight courageously. The earth is just shaking and everything is falling since they're underground. They finally finish the guys off. Thomas kills Jansen in, again, a very violent way. I mean, I get that he was mad at him, but just, I hate overkills. It just doesn't connect with me, okay? When a person is dead and you keep shooting him, or a person is dead and you keep punching him. And that is exactly what happened, and just, no. The guys are dead. They're just about to make it through the flat trends when, I can't, just, it's so hard talking about this. A boulder is seen dangling from the ceiling, and as that boulder is falling right on top of Thomas, Teresa shoves Thomas and the boulder lands on her. When I read this, my heart, this is just the feeling, this void that, no, she can't die, you cannot kill her. And then she dies anyway. That Teresa's death really affected me because any other character could have died. Teresa did. My favorite character did. And in such an unnecessary way, because if Thomas died, I really wouldn't care. And just, it makes me feel so, kind of like when Allison died in Teen Wolf. But when Allison died, I got this feeling for like a couple of days, whereas when Teresa died, this feeling just kind of 10 minutes, you know, oh my god. Now, I'm not sure how people reacted when this book came out, because it's been out for like 4 years. People are probably like, Teresa, we didn't even really know her. Why are you just like that sad? She wasn't even a big character. Why would you be sad about killing her? No, okay? These characters, even though you don't get to connect a lot with Teresa, she still dies, okay? And when you want a character to live and he dies, it's obviously a sad experience. And I don't care if we don't get to know Teresa very much. I really wanted her to make it through these books, and she didn't, and that really kind of ruined the book for me. I hated that a death ruined the book for me, but it's just that. So Teresa's dead, and they make it to the Flatrans. About in the last 10 pages, that epilogue has got to be a killer epilogue. Okay? Minho gets through, everyone gets through. The book ends with Thomas staring out at a cliff and Brenda coming in, and I'm just, no, don't bring me this chick. No. While I was reading the book, I was really undecisive on Brenda and Teresa. I've really shipped Theresa, I guess, from the beginning. But Brenda just seems like really nice, acceptable for Thomas. But then Teresa died, and I'm like, no, Brenda, just no. And so they're in the cliff, and they just talk. I completely forgot what they say. Something about a new beginning, and Thomas not wanting to think about anything for a while. And they kiss. Now, the kiss was just so cringe-worthy for me. It's just, no. I mean, a person that you truly cared about just died, and you're just, no. Okay, the ending completely, no. Nah. The epilogue, however, I really liked. I really liked how Chancellor Paige ended on that note. On a note of a new beginning, and even though they didn't finish their mission, they also finished their mission, because they sent these people to a place where, they can start over, and these people don't get the flare, so their children won't ever get the flare. And repopulation. That part I liked, but before that, okay. To me, this book, again, spoiled the trilogy, And I just remembered, this title is so ironic, because first of all, they don't even find the cure for the flare, so why call this book The Death Cure? And second of all, it didn't cure death, okay? Newt died, Teresa died. Why call a book The Death Cure if so many important people die? And you don't even find the death cure. So, that was all my thoughts on this book. As a trilogy in general, I think it's action-packed. I think the romance is a little lacking. I wanted to see more romance between Thomas and Teresa, obviously. But as a whole, I think the trilogy was okay. And I think it was okay because of this last book. If it was just the first two and a great last book, this trilogy would be amazing. I would love it. But the third book really weighed my spirits down. I don't know if I will ever reread them. Probably will when I have absolutely nothing to read. But just, Allegiant made me cry a lot. But Divergent is such a great series. And I've reread Divergent and Insurgent because I thoroughly enjoyed the writing style. How Veronica Roth creates this world, but with The Maze Runner, it's different. With The Maze Runner, James Dashner doesn't have that unique writing style that I loved in Veronica Roth. So I gave The Death Cure 4 out of 5 stars because it was, even though I didn't really enjoy it, I think it was worth at the most 4 stars, and that's what I gave it, because a 3.5 star trilogy for me. And in case you're wondering what the covers look like, this is The Maze Runner, the Scorch Trials, which is my favorite because it's a really, really cool shade of red, orange, purple, and The Death Cure, silver. So that was it for my discussion on The Death Cure. If you relate to my reaction, please comment below. If you've read this book, please comment below whether you agree, disagree, whatever, anything, comment away. Thank you for watching. I hope I see you next time for more. Bye!